Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
This is our YouTube channel. Subscribe to this channel. Give this video a like.
Podcast below in the description. Check it out. Do it right now.
Woj bombs. We're dodging them. Shams. Boom, 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 boom. James Harden traded to the Brooklyn Nets, John. So he's going to be Kyrie's teammate, in theory.
Yeah. Well, both guys quit in a 24-hour period. I guess Kyrie quit a while ago. He just disappeared and won't contact anyone. James officially quit. I guess it would have been Tuesday night after a game, and they told him not to come around and practice and said, I've had enough. John Wall and Boogie Cousins were basically calling the guy clown.
Yeah, that's right. And Boogie, who I've been enjoying Boogie's press conferences. You know this, you have too, for many years. Boogie's always been a good post-game soundbite. And actually often pretty insightful. He's like, this is too much drama for us.
When Boogie Cousins and John Wall are saying that, you have issues.
Pretty wild.
Excuse me. One problem, though, Guy, is he looks fat. Now, he's still really good fat, but he's not in good shape. I just don't think he's kind of become like Kyrie. We expected this, right? Disappears, not reliable. Who knows? You know, Kyrie is he going to play? Is he not? No one knows. With James, I think the knock has been he can't get done in the playoffs. They changed the rules. It does feel like something weird happened, and is he just going to flip a switch and be back with Kevin? Kevin has been unreal since he, coming back off the Achilles.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. We'll see. It's a pretty risky move. I'd say James is one of the more polarizing players in our lifetime of just what you think about him. Is he truly a winning player? Does it when it matters most? This year, he kind of jumped the shark.
Yeah.
I know he's had a lot of individual success, but.
And you and I don't spend a lot of time talking about narratives, legacies, that sort of thing. But it does feel like in terms of like how the NBA will remember James Harden 30 years from now, and I don't know if he cares. Doesn't seem like he does. We've reached the fork in the road. Maybe we passed the fork in the road already because I think everyone has a pretty formed opinion about him. Now, I will say this. For as much of a mess as this is, and part of the Kyrie anger, apparently the report was, a few hours before they got Harden, was that Kyrie was mad that they didn't consult him on Steve Nash, which I don't know if you're aware of this, but Nash has been the coach. Like, it's over and done with. It was not yesterday. Like, Nash has
You're
been
saying that's one of the rumors why he disappeared?
Kyrie was mad that he wasn't consulted more in the head coaching hire, not on board with Steve Nash, somebody reported.
Well, if that's true, then he basically is admitting he doesn't like Steve Nash because he's already been around him, right? The hire took place. They played games.
That's right. So
my theory on Kyrie, Guy, was that he got wind that Kevin Durant okayed to trade him for James Harden. That, to me, was my theory on why he left. And why
made it impossible to trade him.
Yeah, which exactly tanked his own trade value so they couldn't trade him. That is still my working theory. That he got wind that Kevin was like, this guy, which to me is on Kevin. Like, bro, do you not follow this? Like, are you shocked?
Yeah, I mean, what's the saying, right? If you, what is it like? If you aim for the king, you best not miss. Basically, if you're gonna do the deal, you better consummate the deal. Otherwise, you got a fire on your hands.
No. I'm not talking about the trade. I'm talking about when he just linked up with Kyrie a year and a half ago. Like, what did he think was gonna happen? You know?
No, I mean, Kevin Durant went from the Warriors, went from Clay and Draymond and Steph to Kyrie by choice. After he came from Russell Westbrook, he went to those guys and was like, nah, this is not the place for me. So now he went to Brooklyn. You're right. I mean, he brought this on himself by doing it.
At least Russ, who was a flawed player, was a reliable human, right?
He was in shape, played his ass off. That's right. Now, I will say this. Like, the NBA regular season has matters less, I'd say, every year for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
When I think about, like, Kyrie or no Kyrie, just Kevin Durant and James Harden playing playoff games where it's not about how committed are you. It's not about how many games do you play in a row. It's not about any of that stuff. You got days off between every game. When I think about those guys, I do look around the NBA this year and go, who do I feel strongly is just beating them?
Well, 100%. They will, when they step on the court, the only team that could even make a claim to have their equal or better would be the Lakers. And they won't have to face them until the finals. To me, Guy, the issue is Kyrie and James, I don't think make much sense together, right? Like, they're pretty similar players in the sense of ball dominant guards who want to chuck a lot of shots. And one issue Kevin always had with the Warriors is, we play a little too much, pass the ball around, just feed me the fucking rock and let me go nuts. And Kevin deserves that. Like, I think a lot of people who watch the Warriors are like, just feed the big fella, let him score 40.
When they had to, he would take over games when needed.
You cannot have a basketball team, to me, with 3 players that are as ball dominant as this. Like, every single time we've had a big 3 in NBA history, there is a guy that just takes a step back. And for example, the Warriors, when Kevin Durant showed up and it was clearly Kevin Steph, or Steph Kevin, however you want to look at it, and Clay was the third banana, he can just catch and shoot and play defense. Like, that is not Kyrie or James Harden's deal.
It was Kevin Steph.
It was Kevin Steph.
What, right? It was Kevin Steph. Yeah, I mean,
Kevin's the better individual player than Steph. Kevin's one of the best players of all time. I mean, so is Steph.
So is Steph, yeah. But when they had to have a guy take the game over, it was the 7-foot freaking Mr. Do Everything. Like, of course it was. Look at him.
But like, James Harden is a better player than Kyrie, so that's going to complicate matters. Again, assuming he ever returns, he might just quit.
I think the other thing that's interesting, right, is that they just at different, like Kevin and James played together, but that was a very different point in James's career.
Yeah.
Kyrie played with LeBron, but that was a different point. Kyrie, when he came in, it was clear who the Robin was and who the Batman was, and by the end, Kyrie wasn't cool with that. It's wild to me that we go from Kevin being a warrior and kind of Kevin was the problem to Kevin is by far, and you and I both loved just Kevin Durant. A lot of what it was not, intentionally disruptive to the team, but
I think he's just a moody individual that just, I think there's a lot of happy-go-lucky that goes on with Steph and Clay, and in a weird way, I think Kevin has a little football in him, kind of like some negativity sometimes. And it's just a little different. But you're right. He was never James Harden basically said, fuck you, trade me. Or Kyrie, who now is on his team that just is doing who knows what. Like, that is not
Kevin hurt himself trying to come back early from an injury to win a championship for a team that that everyone kind of knew he was going to leave anyway.
I actually think as it ages, Kevin Durant is going to be viewed as a really, really high-level guy, as he deserves to be. Like, I think he is. He's really smart, and I think Kyrie thinks he's really smart and just does a lot of – I think how could Kevin Durant like Kyrie Irving? Because at the end of the day, he's not around. Like, at least James will – say one thing for James. He will play. He doesn't miss games. He's even been playing in these games, whether he's been tanking him, not
that
trying,
pass to John
whatever.
Wall?
Yeah. What
Did
happened?
you see that pass to John Wall? Russillo tweeted – did you see it?
No.
You pull up your phone right now and look at it. I think it's like my last retweet. Russillo tweeted this video from the game where Wall doesn't move to where Harden wants him to move, so Harden just throws the ball there, and Wall has to like run and go get the ball near midcourt. And it's just a bad situation. I mean, we've seen enough bad situations to know a bad situation. They got 4 first-round picks and players. They're flipping players. They're going to get Oladipo as we record this, John. It's a multi-team deal. Karis LeVert getting flipped for Oladipo. You just watched the video. How great is that?
That's pretty good.
And there was still a description of like John Wall going like, what the fuck? Like, how about like John Wall? It's like, I don't know, John Wall. This is weird. Immediately goes to Houston. And it's just the straightforward competitor.
Well, one reason the NBA is in shambles right now is you have multiple star players, and these guys are. I mean, Harden and Kyrie are really famous, right? I mean,
and they're really good players.
I've been following the NBA my entire life. Like, they're in a crew of guys in their heyday, in like their generation where they're near the top. And they are acting, I mean, just terribly. Like, it's embarrassing. Listen, players ask for trades. Players go, I'm not feeling this coach. That is normal. Like, I think we're numb to that. What they are doing kind of differently, like, to me, James is almost worse. At least Kyrie's like, listen, I'm just leaving. Now, I think there is just having to pay him is kind of crazy. But with James to play, but then do that, he was on the right team. I'd say in the 90s, someone fights him. Because it's not like he's that big. It's not like he's Shaq. Like, it wouldn't shock me if he was on the wrong team, like in the 90s,
right.
Like maybe an Anthony Mason, a Davis brother on there. He's getting fucking socked in the face. Like that. To me, Kyrie, you would just, if it was in the 90s, players would come out and just basically start crushing him. James, like that's fighting type stuff. Like the NBA we grew up on, that you're getting into you play with Draymond, they're getting in a fight.
Yeah, it's not good for the league for fans to think some of the best players don't care about playing the game.
But they don't.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Fine,
Yeah.
I agree with you. I'm just saying it's not good for your product. You remember when the problems used to be guys play hard but just want some off days? That was like a year and a half ago. It's like, well, we got too many off days because they play so hard. It's like, all right, well, let's smooth the schedule out. By the way, with every day that passes, it's another thing too. I think we talk about appreciating the Warriors and Steph. It's also a reminder to appreciate LeBron for all LeBron's issues and changing teams. And you got a coach, you got David Blatt fired. Yeah, you got David Blatt fired, right? Like all this stuff. The guy does when LeBron's kind of slacking on defense. All I know is LeBron James has been in the league now for 2 decades, and it's just you don't become LeBron James by not caring enough.
Well, the bar now to the NBA to be viewed like, God, he's a pretty good guy. Just play hard,
Well, but that's all. But I don't need you to be. I don't need to know what you're doing. Like, I don't think most people need that's what you need. That's all you need. No. That's all you really ask for.
To me, the Kyrie thing. If you're just a Nets fan, like, where's our guy? Like, yeah, we don't really know. Like, what do you mean you don't know?
And there's nothing you can do. There's we can't find him or anything.
Wait, you're still paying him? Yeah, I think we've got to do that because we don't want another player to get mad the way we don't treat players well. Like the NBA jumped the shark with all this stuff, and I don't quite know how you ran it in. They actually are lucky, like you said, that their top players, like Kevin plays, LeBron just plays. Like if those guys,
Steph being back this year, Steph being back to kind of Steph
plays,
this year is good.
Yeah,
right.
Now, luckily, you're the best players. It still does seem like playing basketball. I don't know if that can be said for all the top 15 guys.
Good luck to Kevin Durant, Steve. If the Nets win a championship, Steve Nash should be I guess I know you award this stuff beforehand, but good luck to Steve Nash.
Retroactively give him the coach of the year for sure.
Good God. Oh my God.